Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are coming by for the first time, you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Today I'm here to talk about something that has been on the lips of all Nigerians since on Friday. Only because I feel keeping quiet or condoning the negative narrative around this issue only empowers the perpetrators to carry on with their evil acts. I'm talking about the alleged rape of Busola Dakolo, Timi Dakolo's wife, by Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo, the senior pastor of Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, Koza. So Busola granted a tell-it-all interview just a few days ago that was released, and in that interview she narrated how she was raped by Pastor Biodun as a teenage girl. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know if that happened or if that didn't happen, because that has been the defense of some people that, oh, why is she speaking now? How are we sure it really happened? I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. And Pastor Biodun also came out to refute these allegations, saying he did not rape Busola even as an unbeliever. Well, now everybody has spoken. It's left for us to believe their truth. Now, that said, my discussion really is going to focus on what people have been saying since Busola made her public revelation. I mean, it's ridiculous and actually disheartening, the kind of things you hear people say when a victim musters the courage to speak their truth. And this rape culture of victim blaming, shaming, and bullying is sickening, and that's what we need to address. When someone musters the courage to speak up, we should listen to their story. We should give them the benefit of doubt. Encourage people to speak up. Not that when someone musters the courage and speaks up, you shame them, you blame them, you call them names, and then you bully them into silence. The trauma of rape is deep enough. So when someone has dealt with the trauma and has mustered the courage to speak, the least you can do for them is to believe them. Since Busola, granted that interview and alleged her rape, so many people have said a lot of appalling things, and I can't believe it, because some of the people who have said these things are actually women. A lady actually said a married woman should not come out publicly to admit that she was raped, or to confess that she was raped, to speak her truth that she was raped. And I said, really? Really? As a woman, you try to silence another woman because she's married? And if you look at it, I really don't blame this lady for making this comment. This only shows how deeply gender stereotypes and the unbalanced power, dynamics in the world, let me say in the world, is affecting us, is affecting our mentality and how we deal with issues. An individual has suffered a trauma for years and has finally mustered the courage to speak up, and you try to silence her because she's married. Okay, so because she's married, she should be grateful that she's married, and because she's married, she should enjoy that privilege and not speak her truth, even if that means bringing her healing from the trauma she has endured for years. Really? Is that how we are going to carry on? Is that how we are going to allow society to shut people down, to shut individuals down, to let them continue to suffer in silence because of some, this, they are speaking up, or their reaction might cause some, power shift? Or what could be her, premise for saying that? I really tried to make sense of that comment, but I couldn't. And the good thing is that in this case, Timi Dakolo, that's Busola's husband, was the one who actually began these revelations and has supported the wife to come out and speak her truth. So what's your problem? Okay, I get, for Busola that will pass, her husband has supported her. But what about the other women who have probably experienced this, rape at some point in their life, but cannot speak up because they do not have that support system that Busola has to speak their truth? Is this how we are going to shut them down and let them suffer in silence until they finally cross over to the great beyond? Because the truth is, some people experience these things and they never get to speak their truth, they never get justice, they never get to find healing until they go. We should not continue like this. Another person said, why is she just speaking up now? And I'm like, whenever she chose to speak up is inconsequential in the sense that that should not be the point of discussion. She has finally mustered the courage to speak up now, and whenever she has chosen to speak up, listen to what she has said. If that is going to bring her healing, if that is going to empower other survivors to open up and speak their truth and find healing as well, let's encourage them to speak up. Don't try to silence them and ask, why is she speaking up now? For crying out loud, this is when she has mustered the strength to speak up. So listen to her. And ever since she spoke, more people have been coming out to share their own stories, and more people will continue to come out and share their story. Saga Links, the human rights body that is going to prosecute this case, revealed in a tweet that more people, about 30 more people, are willing to speak up about this same alleged rape by the same person. So what really is the point? Like, what really is the point? Why would you try to shut somebody down for finally mustering the courage to speak up? I mean, we can do more than this. Let's begin to address this rape culture, victim blaming, shaming and bullying. Another person said, oh, why did she go to open the door in her nightie when the pastor knocked on the door? And I'm like, no, like, what's this? If she even opened the door naked, was that the legal and moral justification for him to have allegedly raped her? And again, this boils down to the way society perceives women and how less visible and how less empowered women have been made to become. Okay, so I dress a certain way, the way I deem fit for me at a time, and then someone rapes me and then you blame me. Whatever happened to self-control? Nobody deserves to be raped, and nobody has the legal or moral justification to rape anyone. The way they dressed, where they went to, what they did or what they did not do, regardless. You have no right whatsoever to rape anybody. There is no moral or legal justification for that. So let's begin to put these things into consideration when we are fast to, victim blame and shame a survivor when they muster the courage to speak up. Do not go blaming them. Okay, so why did you go there? Why did you dress that way? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? That is not the justification. Self-control. Whatever happened to self-control? Let's begin to hold these perpetrators accountable for their actions. If someone rapes or sexually assaults any individual, male or female, let's address the issue rape itself. Let's address the issue sexual assault itself. Let's hold the perpetrator to account for doing whatever they did. And let's not blame the victim or the survivor. Some people never get to speak up. Some people die as a result of sexual assault or rape. That is bad enough. That is bad enough. I mean, this whole incident has brought a lot of things to mind. Like, it just brought to my mind the issue of Ochenya, the teenage girl who was raped several times by father and son until she was diagnosed with VVF and finally died. The case has been in court since. We've not heard anything about it ever since then. That little girl, she suffered in silence for years because of this culture of silence and victim blaming. She suffered for years and finally died. Up until now, the son of that man is at large. And this brings me to the next point. Rape does not have to always make sense. It doesn't always make sense, even to the survivors themselves. The circumstances in which it happens do not always have to make sense to you or to add up, according to the people saying it didn't add up and all of that. Because the perpetrators are people who are familiar with the victim, so they know how to calculate their attacks and when to attack. And so for the people who have been asking questions, so a pastor came to your house that early in the morning, and how did he know your siblings were not at home? How did he know to come and all of that? I just feel those questions are daft, because this lady said in her story that this man was a family friend. So he came to the house when he wanted, and he knew the sisters very well. The sisters were the ones that introduced her to this man and his church. So the questions you are asking, I really do not know what answers you want. How on earth is she to blame that she heard a knock on the door, she opened the door, and it was the pastor showing up there? So please, let's some of these questions we ask are really not sensible enough. There are a lot of nuances and complexities around the issue of rape. So it's important for us to start holding these honest conversations about this topic. So for those of you who are new, in the month of April, I did a series on sexual assault because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the videos are here. I've linked them here. I talked about what sexual assault and rape is, seeking and obtaining consent, and how to seek and receive help. It's a 3-part series, so you check it out. One of the things I said is the fact that the people who perpetrate the act of rape and sexual assault are people who are familiar to the victims and their families. They are no strangers. In this case, the said pastor was a family friend of theirs, someone who came to the house unchecked, so he had understood the details about their family and the activities that go on there, and he knew when to come. Like I said, I wasn't there, but according to her story, this is what happened. Like I said in those videos here linked, we should teach our children to begin to speak up, to begin to identify some of these, uncomfortable actions that perpetrators begin to, carry out with them, like inappropriate touch, inappropriate communication and use of language with our children, with the, with minors. Let them learn to identify these things on time and begin to speak up when they start seeing them manifest. That is very important. It will help a long way to prevent some of these, rape incidents that we get to hear about and those that we never get to hear about. Let's teach our children to begin to speak up now. If you're a parent, watch who comes around your child. If you're a guardian, watch who comes around your ward. It's very important. You cannot be so trusting enough to let your minors in the hands of just any individual. Let's be mindful. Let's check and double check and be sure that our children and our wards are safe with whoever we entrust them in their care. This is very important and we can't emphasize this enough. And let's also build relationship with our children and our wards to give them the confidence to speak to us when the need arises. Like Busola said in her story, she never really had that support system, that supportive and conducive family setting that allowed her to speak up when those things started happening. Her father was never present in her life. Her mom, yes, they had, a connection, but it wasn't that, a kind of mother-daughter relationship that she would boldly open up and speak about those things. And this is true about African families, about Nigerian families. Most parents and guardians do not always have that relationship with their children and their wards. So even when they're experiencing these things, they keep quiet because they're not confident enough to talk. One, for the fear of how the family is going to react. Sometimes the victim ends up being blamed or silenced. So we need to begin to change some of these nuances around rape and sexual assault. It's very, very important. Now, that said, let me quickly point here that rape is universal. It's not just a Nigerian thing or an African thing. It's universal. It's happening everywhere. It has happened everywhere. It's happening everywhere. So wherever you are as an individual, take action where you are. What is happening with the children that are entrusted in your own care, your own children, your own wards? How are you looking out for them? How important is their welfare to you? Let's begin to ask these questions and be more proactive. As an auntie, an uncle, a teacher, a pastor, people in position of trust and authority, how are you, utilizing your position for the good of minors and women and people around you? When we hear something or we see something, we should speak up and we should encourage survivors to speak up and to find justice. And most importantly, let's all be responsible. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll keep you updated. See you in my next video. Bye.